Welcome to another episode of GSS Presents Punch Drunk. I'm Courtney Perna. Now picture this. A beautiful beach, the Pacific Ocean just rolling in, the sun warming your skin, and two guys just beating the heck out of each other. We are setting up a ring right on the beach in Rosarito, Mexico. Today we're talking to three fighters on that September 19th pay-per-view card. Kevin Torres, who's the main event, Ty Price, and Manuel-Rey Rojas. First up, the Diamond Boy, Kevin Torres, who's able to change from a nice, humble guy outside the ring into a vicious warrior inside the ring. How does that switch happen? Let's ask him. The Diamond Boy himself, Kevin Torres, joining me now. Thank you, sir, for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this isn't our first run-in. I actually announced your name at the Best in Awards in San Diego in December because you won Fighter of the Year.
Oh, yes. Last year, I remember.
Yeah, it was a good time that night. I didn't get a lot of chance to talk to you there, so I'm glad that you're taking the time to hang out with us now because, of course, you are in the much-anticipated main event for Best in Boxing's pay-per-view on September 19th. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling, despite the pandemic going on right now, I've been training. I've been in the gym. So I'm coming into this fight feeling confident that I'm going to be ready.
Now, the showing has been titled The Knockout Kings. Obviously, you have a ton of knockouts. Your opponent has a ton of knockouts. I believe your percentage is nearly 78%, 77 point something percent. Your opponent about a 73% knockout percentage, and that's really high on both sides. So do you train differently going into a fight when you know your opponent has that one punch power like you do?
Yeah. We gotta go in there. We're gonna go there and smart. We're not gonna just go in there and bang. It's we gotta set things up, and just gotta be smart about it.
That's right. And fans talk about this more than the actual fighters do, but I mean, having that power to put someone down on the mat is something I think every fighter wishes they had. So does that help your confidence anytime you step into the ring, knowing that you could end it at any point?
Oh, yes, of course. If for whatever reason, I feel in trouble in a fight and I catch him with a good shot, I know that it could be, I could turn the fight around right away.
Yeah. Now, neither you nor your opponent, Jose Cuevas, has been knocked out. I know you've both been knocked down, but you get right back up. You show your grit oftentimes. But some people, maybe some of your critics, are saying this could be a real test for your chin. What do you say to them? And, what are you planning to show us on September 19th?
I'm gonna show them that I got a great defense as well as an offense, because you can have a great offense, but if you don't have any defense, you're not gonna get very far either.
That's very true. And I know that, again, we said the main event, but this is actually your 11th fight on Best in Boxing. You're only one away from the record.
Yeah.
And you're starting to be a regular around here. How has Best in Boxing and maybe this exposure online helped grow your fan base and maybe your confidence as well?
It's great. When people ask me, because I get people saying all the time, oh, where can I watch your fights? And I can easily just point them out to Best in Boxing on YouTube, on Fight Hub, and it's a good experience, and it's nice to be able to share my moments in the ring with everybody.
Yeah, we love watching you get better. We love watching you develop. And I think that having this exposure on Best in Boxing Global Sports Streaming, it really helps you get fans earlier in your career. Because oftentimes, like back 10 years ago, we only saw the fighters who were on TV. So now I think you have more of a momentum behind you because people are already your fans before, you are, becoming a Mayweather.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha. Now, I've seen some interviews with Carlos, your trainer, and he says that you can take a punch. You've got really fast reaction, but it does concern some people that you only had a few amateur fights under your belt before you went pro, and some say you might still be learning on the job a little bit. if that's true, I think 16-1-1 has been a pretty good record for quote unquote learning on the job. But where do you feel you are in terms of your development as a fighter?
It's true I didn't have too many amateur fights. I think I had a decent amount though. I had somewhere around 50, so not too much, but not too little either. And as a fighter, I feel like in the past, 2 years since I've moved here to San Diego, I feel like I've been developing like crazy nonstop, and I'm ready for a bigger challenge. I'm ready for this challenge, and I just can't wait to get up in there and show what I can do to everybody.
We can't wait either. It's going to be such a great fight. Do you get affected at all by the hype? I mean, like I said, this is being called the Knockout Kings, and kind of putting you two together, the big one-punch powers. Do you let that affect you at all? Do you think about that at all?
No, I don't. I just go in there with my plan. I go in there, I continue to train, and I think about what I can do and not what the opponent can do.
Yeah. Do you ever feel pressure to knock somebody out just because you have such a high percentage? And that's, sometimes people are like, that's what I want to see.
I get all the time people asking me, are you going to knock this guy out and all that? But, it does give me a little pressure, but I just don't let it get to me. I go in there, I do my thing, and if the knockout comes, it comes.
Right. Gotcha. Now, I know you're very charismatic, audiences love you. How are you adjusting to maybe fighting in front of an empty arena, no audience?
Yeah, I don't know, how that's going to be. I don't know how that's going to affect, my performance in there.
Yeah, your energy.
Without everyone chanting and screaming, I just don't know what the adrenaline's going to be like in there.
I gotcha. What have you been doing during the COVID-19 restrictions to make sure you stay in shape and be ready? I know it's been hard for everybody.
Yeah. So, I've been just trying to work out as much as I can, trying to stay in shape at home. In fact, I've been training in the gym by myself for a while, and, today, in fact, I actually just sparred this morning with some other guys. So I'm still working and with some other people. It's just a limited amount of people in the gym, but just trying to stay active as much as I can.
Gotcha. I mean, we know you're a workhorse. You've been known to train, 7 days a week, and you're a gym rat and that kind of thing. So I mean, the dedication to your craft is
Yep.
evident. So I think that's an inspiration for a lot of other fighters, even when it's not the perfect circumstances.
Yeah. You just gotta, whatever you have, you just gotta take advantage of.
That's right, and do your best out there. Do you think that your fan base will follow you to behind a paywall with this pay-per-view? I mean, it's an opportunity to get in front of new fans across the globe, but your base that you have where you're training in San Diego, and people who throughout the region who'd come to see you and pay money at the door. Do you think that those fans will follow you behind the paywall? And are you looking forward to expanding that base worldwide?
Oh yeah, of course. I believe my friends and family are gonna stay, loyal to me.
They have to. They're your friends and family.
Yeah, of course. So, and they always put out a good word for me. They always talk to other people about me, and so, I'm excited for how my fan base is gonna grow in the future.
The exposure, yeah. We also talked to Saul Rios from Borizteca, of course, your promoter, and he talked about your charisma, and he said that he reminds you a little bit of an Oscar de la Hoya, but I think the Diamond Boy is a step up from the Golden Boy, so at least, you got a win in the nickname column.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
A Diamond Boy? Well, originally I really liked the Golden Boy, the Oscar de la Hoya, but I didn't want to mimic that, so I thought, okay, Diamond is kind of like, as a boxer, as a boxer, you're always improving, you're always in the making. And with a diamond, a diamond in the rough is not a precious diamond. It's not a precious gem. You always gotta polish it, and you gotta work on it in order for it to be beautiful. And so, I just came up with the diamond boy. Diamond is one of the strongest stones in the world. So that's just I thought Diamond Boy was a good name.
I love it. I think it fits perfectly. What would you tell fans who may not know you as well? What do they need to know about the Diamond Boy?
I think people often like first impressions. Maybe they often think, oh, he's a mean guy, but if you get to know me, I'm truly a nice guy.
What happens because you can't really be a nice guy in the ring. So what is that switch that happens, and when does that switch happen for you between the nice guy, charismatic guy, good looking dude outside the ring, and then becoming a fighter, the knockout king in the ring? Where's that switch happen?
That's just a mental game. You gotta be able to switch that switch. When you get in there under the lights, you just gotta put your game face on, and you gotta go after him. Outside the ring, you just gotta be a nice person, be yourself, and just be humble, and just have fun.
And like I mentioned earlier, that this will be your 11th fight on Best in Boxing. How have you changed as the boxer we saw you 11 fights ago?
Oh man, like when I see videos, I can see big differences in my skill now, my skill level. Back then, I feel like I didn't have the same speed, the same power, and the same IQ in the ring.
Yeah.
I think I've seen big improvements.
Now, Carlos, like I said, mentioned you have a fast reaction, and that is what helps you in your defense. How do you develop something like that? Is it just experience in the ring, or is that something you can do in the gym?
It's something you got to work on in the gym. It may come naturally to some people. There's people who can learn it quicker than others. I just happen to, I think it just came natural to me. Mm-hmm. And with a little bit of work, I keep on improving, and I think that
you've done a good job. I mean, like you said, that the old tapes that you watch of yourself, you can definitely see your improvement. Do you watch your old tapes as a fighter or a fan?
As a fighter, as a fighter, I'm just trying to improve,
I got you. Well, thank you so much. We have definitely seen a big improvement, and we are really excited to watch your career and watch you grow. And of course, watch you on September 19th, the main event, Kevin Torres, the Diamond Boy, going up against Cuevas, who are both our knockout kings. So we will see what happens there, sir. So thank you again. And also the 2019 Best in Awards Fighter of the Year for Best in Boxing. Good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you. Good to see you.
While most fighters are happy to get 2 fights in 1 year, my next guest is fighting twice in less than a month. I caught up with Manuel-Rey Rojas. And part of that September 19th card, we have Manuel Ray Rojas joining us. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey, it's good to have you.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me just start over because there's something just blew over my notes and everything.
Yeah, okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. And part of that September 19th card, we have Manuel-Rey Rojas joining us. Thank you, sir, for taking the time.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm excited to be talking to you. I know you have you have a fight actually coming up before September 19th. Right. So let's first talk about the confidence that Southpaw Promotion has in you as a fighter, putting you back-to-back, basically 2 fights in 1 month. That's a little odd usually.
Yeah, it is. But right now I'm just trying to stay busy. I don't think, I'm sorry for not knowing my own stats, but I don't think I've ever fought 4 times in the same year. So right now I'm just trying to stay busy. I fought once last year in October, this year in January. I'm trying to get that fight in August in 2 weeks, and then again in September with you all.
Now,
So
does
it's
having
kind of
that many
crazy.
fights in 1 year, does that make you tired, or do you feel like you're kind of get the momentum because you're in a zone?
Yeah, for me, it's a momentum thing. Just staying busy, getting good rounds in. Building my record up.
So
So
August 29th, you'll be against Noel Ichivara. And of course, then on Best in Boxing pay-per-view, our very first, or our second rather, pay-per-view on September 19th, you'll be going against Aldo Garcia. What do you know about your opponent there?
I don't know much about the opponent on September. It hasn't been anything. Nothing has been confirmed with me yet on who the opponent is. But as far as Noah Echeverria, I know he's a good fighter, and he stepped up and fought some big names. I think he's lost almost every time, but he's still good, like a good opponent for me.
I mean, you fought some really big names. I mean, your record is 18-4, I believe, right now. But I feel
Right.
like you have one of the best resumes when it comes to the level of fighters you've gone up against without fear. I mean, you fought Felix Verdejo, who, of course, is a
Yeah.
Puerto Rican Olympian. That was on a top-ranked card on ESPN. So,
Uh,
what is it like to be able to fight on that level and go against that type of competition?
I mean, for me, it means a lot. It shows that I'm stepping up. I really want to be considered an elite fighter. And to be considered elite, you have to defeat elite fighters. And with that, you just have to take those chances and, fight them. I may not win, but I know where I'm at and I know what I need to do now to become a better fighter.
I mean, like you said, if you want to be elite, you got to fight elite. You got to be elite. You went 10 rounds with Verdejo, and you looked really good doing it. So
Yeah.
even though you did get that loss, what did you learn, and how did you feel walking away from that fight?
I feel really good. I know in the ring, I knew there was things that I could have done differently, but I think that just came with the ring rust and having been off like such a long time. I think it was like a year and a half that I hadn't fought. But I mean, from that, I learned just to stay a little bit busier and take a little bit more chances. Keep myself in the fight.
Gotcha. You're able to watch it as a fighter, or do you watch the fight as a fan?
No, I watch it as a fighter.
Got to learn something too, because there's things I'm sure that you see afterwards watching the tape, but then also when you're in there, you're like, oh man, that was an opportunity
Right.
missed, or I did well doing this.
Yeah, when I'm watching tape on myself, I'm real critical, even in my wins and the things that I do good. I really try and look at the things that I do bad, mostly.
That's good. Keeps you
Yeah.
moving forward for sure. Now you're
Right.
trained by Vince Para, who is known for kind of elevating each fighter in their own style, really pulling out their own style. What
Yeah.
has he taught you about yourself and your style in the ring?
Just to be more patient and actually like sit down on my punches. Before I had Vince as a trainer, I was like all over the place with my technique. Really didn't know what I was doing in there, just adapting as I was fighting. And with Vince, he kind of just settled me down. It was like, hey, look, like do this, so he's just really tightened up my technique.
Now you mentioned having a little bit of ring rust when you fought Verdejo, but now you've got several fights on the calendar for this year, maybe a little bit of momentum. But how did that affect you when it all came to a halt in March or so when COVID-19 shut down everything?
Oh man, I didn't know when I was gonna fight again. I didn't know when boxing was gonna be back. It was a good thing that I had fought this year before everything had happened. I was on one of the last cards before everything shut down. So, I'm grateful to have fought this year. But to be honest, it's just good to be fighting again, to know that I have 2 fights coming up.
Yeah. Do you get that energy from the crowd? Do you feed off them at all? And how might that affect you with an empty arena around you?
I do feed off of the crowd, but there's been fights where I walk in and I'm the opponent and the crowd isn't even there for me.
Right.
And also I sometimes I do better in sparring matches when no one is around. So it's gonna be different fighting with no fans, but I'm all for it. It's not gonna make a difference in how I fight.
Yeah, you certainly have a lot of fans. They just can't be there in person. How has the world of streaming and companies like Best in Boxing, do you think helped the sport in general get the names out of people who, you know, might not have been known in the sport or are still in the developmental stages? Because now instead of just relying on the gate, you've got fans that we're streaming to across the world.
Yeah. I think it's good to be streaming sports right now. You know, there's not really a lot going on. Especially this Best in Boxing. I don't really know how much is the pay-per-view. Is it $5?
It was $5.99.
Yeah, $5.99. See, that's a good deal. I think UFC this past week is close to like 75. So, I mean, you're getting sports for really cheap on a good quality streaming service. So it's a good thing what Best in Boxing is doing right now.
Yeah, and Best in Boxing usually does very good matchups as well. They're really good fights. So, you know, I know we want to see some knockouts, but we also, as fans, want to see some good fights. So do you prefer to go the distance? Do you like to end it or try to end it quickly? I mean, what is your mindset when you step into the ring?
My mindset is to just go in there and beat somebody up. Like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter when you're a fighter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, like, if they go 1 round or if they go 10, you know, as long as I'm in there and I'm having fun beating someone up, that's all that matters to me.
Having fun beating someone else. Well, that other dude is trying to punch you as well. So when does that switch happen for you, being Manny outside the ring and then being Manuel-Rey Rojas, the fighter?
Probably when I get hit with that first good shot.
Everything.
But to be honest, I think I like to get hit first before, like you know, I know when to turn that switch on. Like, I need to get touched up a little bit to know, like, all right, like I really need to be on my toes with this guy. You know, he's kind of dangerous.
Well, you are certainly dangerous, and you are not afraid to go against another dangerous man. Like I said, record is 18-4, but you have one of the best resumes as far as the level of opponents you've faced, and you are not afraid in there. So we cannot wait to see you. So good luck on August 29th, and we hope to see you on September 19th as well on the Best in Boxing pay-per-view.
Okay, thank you.
Best in Boxing presents September 19th.
This is a young man that they have tremendous hope for.
Kevin Torres takes on Jose Cuevas in a power for power showdown.
And this is not body repair, folks. This is body destruction.
A lot of power in both hands. He scored a lot of knockouts here in the Best in Boxing. A lot of one-punch knockouts.
That's it. That's all she wrote. Kevin Torres with a sensational first-round knockout.
The Diamond Boy Torres.
Kevin Torres versus Jose Cuevas, September 19th, 3 p.m. Pacific. Only $5.99 pay-per-view. Tickets on sale now at bestinboxing.com.
From fighting for our freedom in the military to fighting in the ring to fighting with his roommates too. I'm sitting down with Ty Price. Ty Price, the birthday boy. This podcast is actually airing on your birthday. Happy birthday!
Hey, thank you. The big 29, you know, almost to 30. Feeling great.
I gotta tell you, I have a little bit of experience in the 29 to 30 switchover, and 29 is definitely worse. So good luck.
Very well.
Do you have any big plans?
Nothing too crazy. Just probably hang out with my kids and, you know, just enjoy the day. I'll be training for this upcoming fight as well. So nothing too out there. Just keep it pretty conservative, laid back, and just enjoy the day.
That's right. You got a lot to look forward to. So I'm sure your 29 will be better than mine. I think I was just trying to hold on to the 20s too much. And then once I hit 30, I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Hopefully I have the same epiphany once cresting over that hill.
That's right. Well, if you have any questions, let me know. I've had a few big turnover birthdays with the zeros on the end of it. But let's talk a little bit about your background here, because I think it's really interesting. Thank you so much for your service. I have to say that right off the bat. 3 tours of duty, including in Afghanistan as well. You're an ex-Marine. So we know you're tough, because, you know, Marines, I think, are the toughest of all the armed forces. Everybody, I think, has that same opinion. So how does that mentality help you when you are stepping into the ring?
Well, I think that through life in general, you know, I've always been a very diligent and resilient human being, and that translated well to help me excel while I was in the Marine Corps. And I think just that mentality of always pushing forward, never relenting, and having a discipline and, you know, the wherewithal to endure a strenuous task, you know, definitely does aid me in my pursuits.
Gotcha. And you actually have been very open about suffering from PTSD, like many of your comrades. What can you say to maybe somebody who is watching this that might be going through the same thing, or what has that taught you about how to deal with that in your everyday life and in the ring?
I would say don't give up on yourself and find something to focus on, right? Because if you have a fixed point where you can find some kind of meaning and you can be involved in an activity, a task, or in some kind of creative outlet, you can overcome. You will endure.
That's right. And you, of course, are focusing on boxing, coming up fighting September 19th. We are so excited to see you because you're actually fighting in the prelims. That's during the pre-show that I'm hosting, so I'll actually get to watch.
Awesome. Cool.
So what can we expect from your fight coming up?
You can expect a lot of tenacity would be, I guess, the key word, and a lot of pressure, and a lot of me going forward. One of my greatest attributes is my stamina and my endurance. So I'm able to keep going at a high rate for a elongated period of time, and I'm gonna use a lot of the tricks that me and my trainer Vince Parra have been working on through this training camp.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Vince Parra. Now, he's actually developed some world champions. We got Maurice Hooker. He also did Mercito Hesta. They have completely different styles, though, as boxers. So what has Vince been able to pull out of you and elevate regarding your style?
Vince is a master at, you know, highlighting somebody's fundamentals, right? So he takes your strengths and he applies just this ridiculous attention to the details of what you do that's fundamentally sound, and he builds upon that. And from there is things like my jab has gotten so much cleaner and so much stronger. You know, my defense is getting better because there's things that I naturally leaned upon. So he took that and he molded those into something that are you know, now get into world-class levels.
So how'd you meet Vince?
I met him. So we have a mutual friend, Eddie Roa, who runs Pacific Training Center in La Jolla, San Diego. And I happened to be there when he was training Mighty Maurice Hooker, you know, in world champ. And I told him, hey, you know, I'm getting out the military soon. I've always loved boxing. I was on the All-Marine team. Will you work with me? And he saw me. He seemed a little apprehensive at first, but he saw me working on the gym, saw how diligent I was. He said, all right, you know, I'll give you a shot. So he started holding mitts for me. They took me up to Wild Card a few times to spar, and from there we hit it off. We've been cooking with gasoline from then.
That's right. And you are fairly new to the professional boxing game, but you just mentioned you were on the All-Marine boxing team. That is such a cool, a lot of people don't know that they had a all boxing team. So kind of give me a little background on that.
So it's at the time, you know, every service had an All-Marine, or not All-Marine, but all-service team, I would say. So they had, you know, the All-Navy, All-Army, and the Army has the world-class athlete program. So every service has had it for a very long period of time. And the experience there was great. It was after my first deployment, I got back in 2011, and then I tried out for the All-Marine team, being really rusty, hadn't fought since I was a kid. And they saw something in me, and I was able to develop. And at the time, the team captain was you know, world champ Jamel Herring. Right? So we had similar we had similar styles. But of course, he was way better than I was then. He's still better than I am now.
It's been a while since you had gotten in the ring, though.
Indeed. But he helped me refine certain things. His diligence and work ethic as a leader helped like bring us to the first, I think, in 21 years at the time. It was the first time the Marine Corps had beat the Army in the All-Service Championship, and that was a momentous occasion. It was great.
And so you don't just fight other branches of the military, though. I know you guys are fighting other good fighters. You're going to competitions. You know, you're fighting on a national level, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. So how did that prepare you to choose a career in boxing?
So it was it's actually interesting. They disbanded the All-Marine boxing team in 2013 because they had a few concerns about TBI and some funding and a handful of other issues that were happening behind the scenes. And I was at a kind of a pivotal moment where I had to make a determination if I was going to keep fighting or if I was just going to fall back into the normal status quo of being a Marine, which, you know, is still strenuous in of itself. But I was like, I want more. So I started training myself, just watching videos online of my favorite fighters, you know, examining their style and whatnot. And so a lot of diligent study, finding gyms to go to, sparring and whatnot. And in 2013, I had trained myself to get to not only the regional level of the Golden Gloves, winning there, and then going to the national and taking third in 2013. And I had repeat success in the region in 2014. And from there, I started deploying more frequently, so I couldn't maintain my status as on the national level as an amateur. But it was always something that was on the forefront of my mind to do. So it definitely did help prepare me, because I had a lot of great fights in the amateurs against some top level guys.
I think a very small percentage of the population could do anything where they train themselves. That's certainly a different kind of mentality. Was that maybe your focal point?
Yes, it definitely was, because coming back and forth from various deployments, that was the thing that kept me grounded, the thing that kept me centered. Because if there was nothing else, you know, and I had my health, you know, thank God I had my health. I was like, my body works, I can fight. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing that kept me centered, focused. That, along with, of course, the love of my children.
I can hear them in the background there. They sound like they're having a joyous day. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully they're not fighting yet, because it turns the kids. Oh, yeah. Now, you know, it's interesting that going back to the Marines, that, you know, you're boxing, you become your own unit. You travel together, you live together. I gotta think that sparring sometimes is a good way to maybe get even on maybe an annoying comrade or a roommate that's kind of talking a little trash too much. I mean, was there any of that came out in sparring? Because seriously, living with people, it's annoying.
There's a lot of that, actually. Whilst on the All Marine boxing team, everybody there knows a great athlete, and we live in close quarters. All of us were roommates or at least next door neighbors in the barracks. HP 55 on Camp Lejeune, shout out. And there was times where we would scrap in the room sometimes. Other times we put gloves on and just hop in the ring after hours. But there was always there was no shortage of practice time when it came to art of altercation.
Like, you stole my toothbrush. I know it was you. I'm gonna knock you out. Right.
I had my roommate at the time, Adil Wofford, great guy, great American. We got to a fight over food one time, and
that is worth something worth fighting over, I gotta say.
I mean, he put a hurting on me in our room, you know.
Were you stealing food?
I wasn't stealing. I was persistently asking for what he had, you know, because, you know, sometimes you're cutting weight, you're hungry and whatnot, you know. It gets to that primal, you know, fight or flight, and everybody had the fight in them.
Yeah.
So like, oh, what's gonna happen? What are we gonna do? And he just happened to edge me out that day.
Now, you are undefeated, 4-0. Do you think you made the right career choice? I mean, you're doing pretty well.
I do think I made the right career choice. I've been progressing, you know, fairly quickly, not as fast as I'd wanted because of how COVID played out. I wanted to have 10 fights by the end of this year, but, you know, as long as I can keep progressing forward, I'll be happy. I think it's a solid start, because I haven't been pro for a year yet, and I'll be, you know, 5 fights deep, 5-0 after the fight on the 19th, and I think that's a solid way to start off a year.
And this will be your 3rd time on Best in Boxing, so we're really excited. Like I said, I get to see you this time. I'm really happy about that. But how has COVID changed the way that you've been training, and are you ready to step into the ring?
Oh, definitely ready. More than ready. So COVID took me out of conventional training methods, but I'm used to training myself, so I've been doing things in a non-standard fashion for a very long time. So it's just been a lot of running, you know, because that's something I like to do. It's cathartic for me, and meeting up with fellow professional boxers in garages, parks, wherever, and getting those rounds in to make sure we stayed sharp. One of my friends, Josh Hayden, he was a pro out of Texas. He had a gym set up in his garage, and we'd get in there and just right in the hot box, just, you know, taking it to each other just to maintain, you know, some sort of sharpness, you know.
So who's a tougher trainer, you or Para?
I think I'm tougher on myself, but Vince is definitely more knowledgeable. And so, I can tell every time I get back in the gym with him, there'll be something a little bit off of what I do, because I kind of revert back to old habits because it's what I know. Like, hey, remember, do X, Y, and Z. But the past few months, I've actually been able to get some really good sparring. I was sparring with Bolavita, Jose Cuevas. He was a former world champ at super middleweight, and a couple of MMA fighters that are getting ready for some high up fights because they wanted to work with some lefties on their boxing. So I've been able to get some world-class sparring in as of late. So I'm feeling great stepping into the ring in September.
How are you feeling about not having an audience? Do they feed you energy, or you just don't even know they're there?
It doesn't matter to me. I tune everything out. I'm very adept at focusing, because I know maybe it is from being in the military. When you have chaos going on around you, you're focusing on the task at hand. And, whether it's gunfire, explosions, or the boos of an audience, I kind of tune it out, find my zen, and pursue my adversary.
Find your zen in the ring when some dude's trying to punch you?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It's the only place in the world I can be 100% myself is in a ring. I mean, I can every move, every step, every swivel, every pivot, every bob, every weave, it's a representation of myself, the training that I put into it, and how my mind works. So it's the truest form of me that anybody will ever see.
Now, we talked a little bit about COVID for the effect on your training, but COVID has that effect on sports in general. And I think boxing has done one of the best jobs in pivoting. Combat sports in general have done a great job in pivoting and changing the way they do things in order to not only survive, but really thrive when other sports couldn't and haven't so far. So what do you think about, Best in Boxing going pay-per-view? And, now instead of relying on just the gate and people there in person, you have the potential of having a worldwide audience. So what do you think about that? And have you seen anything change since that?
I think it's awesome. I think that the way that we adapt as things, the course of things alter is important. It's paramount in the continued success of sports. And I think it's a great opportunity to be on a platform this large that has this wide of an audience. So I'm really looking forward to being on this card and getting the notoriety from this victory that I'm going to get.
5-0, baby, it's coming.
I know it is indeed.
All right, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Again, happy birthday, the big time. And we'll see you September 19th.
Indeed, you see me there. I'll be ready.
All right, see you then.
All right, thank you.
Best in Boxing presents September 19th.
This is a young man that they have tremendous hope for.
Kevin Torres takes on Jose Cuevas in a power for power showdown.
And this is not body repair, folks. This is body destruction.
A lot of power in both hands. He scored a lot of knockouts here in the Best in Boxing. A lot of one-punch knockouts.
That's it. That's all she wrote. Kevin Torres with a sensational first-round knockout.
The Diamond Boy Torres.
Kevin Torres versus Jose Cuevas, September 19th, 3 p.m. Pacific. Only $5.99 pay-per-view. Tickets on sale now at bestinboxing.com.
Tune in September 19th at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern to watch the prelim fights on Best in Boxing's Before the Bell. I'm hosting that pre-show live from Las Vegas. And as I mentioned, the fighters will be going live from a gorgeous beach in Rosarito, Mexico. Kind of not happy I'm missing out on that vacay. But you can watch all the action from the comfort of your own home through bestinboxing.com for $5.99.